In a world with 8 billion people speaking 6,500 different languages, how can one person make a difference? According to our net storyteller, when you make every interaction count, your influence on the world will be immeasurable. Please welcome to our stage award-winning author, business leader, professional do-gooder, and brain tumor survivor, Jodi Orgill Brown.
My car was loaded with groceries as I prepared to pull out of the parking lot of the Macy's grocery store on 36th Street and Washington Boulevard, near downtown Ogden. I noticed across the parking lot a homeless man sitting on the corner in a wheelchair. But I had a million errands to run, and I had stopped myself and think, what is my own personal motto? Every interaction is an opportunity to change a life. But this parking lot in this part of town, it was not unusual to see homeless people there. And sadly, there are often too many faces to be able to assist all of those in need. But then, a little voice in my head said, I should help this man. So immediately I started to scrounge around in my purse to see if I had any cash. Because you know what? I don't carry cash much these days. But I dug deep enough and sure enough found a $10 bill. So immediately I drove over, parked my car, and walked over to the sidewalk. As I was walking there, I noticed his leg was amputated at the knee. And he had on a baseball cap that covered up his scraggly, gray-white hair, mostly unkempt. He looked a little rough and haggard. But I walked up to him and pleasantly greeted him, and we carried on for a few minutes, exchanging basic pleasantries. After visiting for just a few minutes, I handed him the $10 bill, and he proceeded to thank me. And he said, do you know what I'm going to do with this money? I'm going to go inside that Macy's, and I'm going to get some chicken strips. Because I have a friend who lives down the street. He just got out of the hospital. He had some surgery. And now I'm going to take him this meal so he can have a healthy meal to help him recover. I told him I thought that was a great use of the money and that I hoped he would sit down and enjoy the visit with his friend as they ate a meal together. I waved, said I would be on my way, and then I left. I went and got in my car and started driving across busy Washington Boulevard, where I parked at a bank parking lot, proceeding to run to my next errand. But as I stood in line at the bank, a little voice inside my head said, get some cash and go to the homeless man on the corner. I was a little bit confused because I thought to myself, been there, done that, check. But the voice said again, get some money and go to the homeless gentleman on the corner. Now, I did not know what kind of mission I was going on, but I decided to listen to the voice. So when I got up to the front of the line, I did my business, I finished all my transactions, and then I told the teller, could you grab me $100 from my checking account? And as she handed over the cash, I stuck it in my pocket. And then I obediently got back in my car and drove to the parking lot. Just 10 minutes after I'd left, I came back to the same spot. And as I walked to the sidewalk, the gentleman's eyes got wide as he saw me. You look surprised to see me. Probably about as surprised as I am to be here. I don't really know why I'm here. Except as I drove away, I couldn't get you out of my mind. I feel like there's someone who is thinking about you. Is there someone in heaven who could be thinking about you? And then this man started to break down. And he told me a story. I wasn't always like this, I used to be a strong, tough man, took care of my family. In fact, sometimes I think maybe I was too strong. Sometimes maybe I used my strength to get my way, even to the point of pushing people around. Then, everything started to change. I had a stroke and got really sick. I even lost my leg because of it. And then things really went downhill. And it all happened in an instant. My house caught on fire. And worse than that, my dog was inside the house and wouldn't leave. Because my wife was trapped inside. Just like that. My house, my dog, and my wife of 40 years, all gone. By this time, his hands were shaking, and his tears turned into heaves and sobs. Do you know why my wife died in that fire? Do you know why she didn't leave that house? She had a brain tumor. She was hooked up to oxygen and to equipment that was keeping her alive. But all that fighting for her life didn't even matter because she was overcome by the smoke. She died in that fire. I stopped and took a deep breath. I took off my sunglasses, pulled my hair away, tucked it behind my ear so he could see my right side. And then I said, a few years ago, I had a brain tumor. I had 3 surgeries and spent 35 days in the hospital. I had a brain infection, a spinal fluid leak, facial paralysis, and I lost my hearing. And I almost lost my life. I truly believe your wife sent me here today. She is thinking about you right now. She wants you to know she loves you so much. He broke down, sobs, heaving, and his head fell into his hands. And then I remembered the money in my pocket, and I grabbed out the $100 bill. I took one of his hands away from his face, and I placed the bill in his hands. He looked down, and then he closed his fingers around mine. And in the moment, I said, your wife loves you. And God loves you. He sees you. No matter how you feel, you are not alone. And the tears just poured from his eyes. And then he lifted my fingers and gently kissed the top of my hand. I wasn't always like this, but you reminded me who I really am. Thank you. You really are beautiful. And then I embraced him, and we held each other for several long seconds. And just like that, the moment was over. And I started to walk away. I turned back and said, God bless you, my friend. And he turned and waved and returned the smile. When I got in my car, I realized I didn't even know his name. But I knew his soul. And that was enough. There is no way I could have known that his wife had a brain tumor. But there is someone who does know. And I will be forever grateful that I listened to the voice. Thank you.
Champion tonight, the 2023 Short Storytelling Showdown champion, Jodi Orgill Brown.
I know I already spoke. I know that this is not about speeches. But I was this close to not coming tonight because my brother is in the hospital on life support. And I didn't think I would be able to come and do this. But I'll tell you what, a little voice in my head said I needed to come. And so the moral of the story is listen to the voice. Thank you. Please, my friends, if I may ask, will you pray for Scott? Thank you.